This video contains the interview of an inmate who may have overheard information about a cold case. Chris Diaz was in the same cell block as Jack McCullough, an ex-police officer who had been accused of murdering 7-year-old Maria Rudolph in 1957. Maria was last seen with a young man referred to as Johnny, and a witness later identified McCullough as being the same person. Maria's body was not found for 5 months, and it wasn't until years later that a cause of death could be established. She had been stabbed multiple times in the throat. McCullough was initially a suspect, but he had an alibi that placed him out of the area during the crime. The case was reopened in 2008 based on the evidence of McCullough's half-sister, who cited his long history of abusing young children. Kathy Sigmund was finally shown a picture of McCullough taken at the time, and she identified him as the same young man she had seen with Maria.
All right, today is Thursday, September 6th, 2012. It's currently 1500 hours, 3 p.m. We are at the DeKalb County Sheriff's Department. I am Detective Dan Hoffman with the Sycamore Police Department. Present in the room is...
Brian Hanley with the Illinois State Police.
And your name, sir?
Christopher Diaz.
Chris, what is your date of birth, Chris?
10/15/91.
7/15 of 91?
10/15/91.
10/15 of 91, okay?
Okay, Chris, before we get started, we're going to read you your Miranda warning, okay?
Okay.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in the court or other proceedings. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions and have him during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you free of cost before questioning. You understand these rights and you're willing to talk to us today?
Yes.
Okay. What I also want to stress is this is being audio and video recorded, and we have your consent to do that?
Yes.
Okay. And since it's being audio and video recorded, we just we want to express that you need to speak loud and clear so that the video will pick up your voice.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what we want to start off with is you sent the DeKalb State's Attorney Clay Campbell a letter, correct?
Yes.
And is this a copy of the letter that you sent him?
Yes, it is.
Okay. If you could, can you just read that letter that you authored?
Yes. This on the date of August 4, 2012. This is to the State's Attorney Clay Campbell on the date of on the 3rd of August at about the hours between 7 and 9 p.m.
Excuse me one minute. What is the date on the letter?
The date is on the 4th.
The 4th of August or the 4th of September?
This on oh yeah, sorry, it's September.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead and start over, please.
Okay. On September 4th, I sent this letter to the State's Attorney Clay Campbell. On September 3rd, at about the hours between 7 and 9 p.m., I overheard Jack McCullough in my cell G1 talking to Matt Raymond about his case. Jack told Matt that he strangled a girl with a wire and held her in his bedroom for some time. Then he said he ran through an alley when taking her. I didn't hear more at that time because I didn't want to seem interested, but I did hear him Jack say that he never sold his car with the fire stripes, but he's saying he did. He talks to Matt a lot about his case and he's worried about going to prison.
Okay, that concludes the letter?
The letter.
Okay, we'll leave that there. Now, did anyone ask you to send this letter to the DeKalb County State's Attorney's Office?
No, no one did.
Okay, and did you write that letter and you sent that letter to the State's Attorney Clay Campbell?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Were you contacted by the police or the prosecuting attorneys or anyone?
The detective will have to question Diaz closely. It isn't uncommon for a prisoner to make up information in an attempt to get a plea deal.
In law enforcement to ask you to write this letter?
No.
Okay. You wrote this letter on your own and in your own words, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The information in the letter came from who?
From Jack.
Okay. And then how long have you been in custody in DeKalb?
2 months.
2 months. And what block are you in right now?
G block.
Okay. And how long have you been in contact with Jack?
Almost 2 months.
So you guys are in the same G block, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And have you ever had, you specifically have ever had conversation with Jack?
Yeah, I talked to him. He tried to talk to me about his case, but I tell him I'm more worried about my case, and he just walks away.
Okay. Now, when you say he tries to talk to you about his case, what does he try to talk to you? And what does he try to say to you about his case?
He just tells me that he's gonna win it, that the state's attorney has nothing against him, that he has so many witnesses, that he didn't do it, and they could talk for him.
Okay. Does he mention any witnesses as far as the state, that the state has or anything?
He says that there's somebody that's gonna testify against him, and he seems kind of worried, but not really.
And who is this somebody who?
This is Kurt Swaggerty.
Okay, and what is he?
He's inmate in prison right now.
Okay, okay. And is that the only person that he's mentioned?
Yes.
Okay.
Besides this other lady who's like 60 years old, but he never mentioned her name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now, when you've been in custody, have you ever had access to TVs, magazines, newspapers, or anything of that nature?
Just TV, we just watch like shows.
Okay. Now, before you said you've been in custody for the last 2 months.
Yes.
Before you were arrested and brought to the DeKalb County Jail, were you aware of this case in Sycamore here?
No, I was not.
You were not.
If Diaz has had limited access to the media, it will make his story more credible.
You didn't see it on TV or read it in a newspaper or anything?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So the first time that you were made aware of this case was when?
When I first got here in DeKalb County Jail, and I went into G block.
Okay. How were you made aware of it?
Well, one of the inmates, I don't remember his name. He told me if I knew who Jack was, and I was like, no, I don't know. I got no idea. And that's when he told me that he was here for murder, for killing a little girl. And that's when I was just like, wow, like, surprised. Like, oh,
Okay. Now, when you describe, Mr. McCullough's in the same G block as with you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe the G block? Is it a big block? Is it small? How would you describe the G block?
It's pretty small. It's got 4 cells. I'm in cell 1. Then there's these other 2 guys who are in cell 2. And this other guy in cell 3, which is a single bed. And then Jackson in cell 4, which is a single bed too.
Okay. So there's 4 cells in the G block.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you heard this conversation between Jack and whom?
Matt Raymond.
Okay, and was he your cellmate?
Yes, he was.
Okay, so where did this conversation where did this take place?
In my cell.
In your cell? Okay, and who was in your cell while this conversation was taking place?
It was me. I was laying in my bunk listening to music, and then Matt Raymond was on top of on the second bunk. And then he was talking to Jack. Jack was standing like on the wall by the toilet, and he was describing his case.
Okay. Now, was there a possibility that anybody else could hear this, or
No.
no? Nobody else would have heard this
No,
conversation.
nobody.
Okay.
Was this one specific conversation, or was this a series of more than one conversation?
More than one conversation.
Okay, and how many conversations in total do you think took place?
Probably like about 3 or 4.
Okay, and under what time frame did this take place? Your letter that you wrote is dated September 4th. When did these 4 conversations take place?
It started on September 1st through September 4th.
Okay, so the information that you are providing to us occurred over a period of days, of
Yes.
3 or 4 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. On that, just to elaborate on what Detective Dan was saying, on the first, what was the conversation that happened on September 1st?
He was describing about, he was giving the little girl, the victim, a piggyback ride. Then this other girl who was there went inside the house and to go grab her mitts, and that's when Jack ran down an alley with the little girl on his back.
This is consistent with the evidence given at the time, but it adds no new information to the case.
Okay, and so then the conversation either stopped or you didn't hear the rest?
Then I didn't hear the rest.
Okay. And then the next conversation that you overheard took place when?
That was like around the September 2nd.
Okay, and that was where?
That was in my cell again.
Okay, and what was the conversation
It
on
was,
September 2nd?
it was him saying like he had the girl in his house in his bedroom for some time, and his mom knew about it. After that, I walked away. I came back, came to grab some water, and then I overheard him say that he strangled the little girl, the victim, like with the wire. He made the motion like this, like strangling her with the wire. He didn't describe what kind of wire or where he strangled her.
Okay, and did he, and then that's on September 2nd, that was all that you heard on that day?
Yes.
Okay, and then now we go to September 3rd, you also hear a conversation between Mr. McCullough and Matt,
Yes.
and that took place where?
In my cell again.
In your cell again? And what was the contents of that conversation between the two?
He was talking about how people think that there was a car involved, and people think that he didn't have the car at that time, but he's saying to Matt that he did. He described the car that had fire stripes or fire flames on it that he painted on his own, because he said back then it was like, like some everybody would do have on their cars, like fire flames.
Mm-hmm. And when you say that people think that people don't think he had a car, then why did he say that? What?
Oh, because he's telling people ask him, so that you had a car, he just tells people no, kind of to, like, fool them, trying to, like, get him off his case,
Mm-hmm. Now, did he ever say what he said he did with his car?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
I didn't hear that.
But he said he still had his vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And how did he get the flames on his car?
He painted on it because he studied art in college. He'd be doing some drawings in the cell block, in G block, and then he said to Matt Raymond that he painted that on there on his car, fire flames, fire stripes.
Okay, so he said that he did it himself.
Yes,
Okay.
How do you know he studied art in college?
he told me that.
Okay.
This information will be easy enough to verify, although doing so isn't enough to strengthen the case against McCullough.
Did he say what else that he had done to the victim? You had indicated that he had gone down an alley with a girl on his back,
Yes,
and then you stated that at some point he and the girl were at his house.
yeah, his house in his bedroom, that's where he kept her.
Okay. And you indicated at some point that he strangled her.
Yes,
Okay. Is there anything else that he indicated he had done to her?
he hit her in the head with some, I don't know, he just said something. He's like that's not important. That's what he said. He said something and hit her in the head, and the girl's head was intact, which means that the skull wasn't fractured. You can see the skull, but it wasn't fractured.
Okay. He said that you could actually see the skull?
Like you can see it, but like it wasn't like fractured or nothing.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you mentioned in the letter about his vehicle, and we went over that already. But he specifically told you that he still had his car
Yeah, that's what he told Matt Raymond. That's
at
what
the
I
time.
overheard.
That's what you heard. Okay. And in the letter also, you say that that he's worried about going to prison.
Yes.
Now, did he say that to you, or is that what you overheard?
That's what I overheard him telling Matt, saying that he's worried about going to prison. He talks to Matt about how prison is and everything, and he's just scared because he knows what happens to people that kill little girls or women. So he's scared. He's not trying to go to prison.
Okay. Now, when he mentioned the people that are coming to testify to court, you mentioned Kurt Swaggerty.
Yes, Kirk Swaggerty.
Did he mention anything to you about him, or?
He just told me that he was a snitch, that he shouldn't be able to come over here and testify against him. And he asked me and Matt Raymond personally if what happens to snitches, and we don't want to discuss that. We're like, we don't know, you know. He's like, well, can you guys do something to him? We just said, no, we're not trying to get no trouble. We're trying to get out of here.
Mhm. Now, when he said, can you guys do something to him, is that what he said?
Yes, he
Did he elaborate? I mean, what exactly did he say?
He said, can you guys do something to him, like send people after him, or, you know, beat him up? Like, me and Matt were like, nah, like we don't do that type of stuff.
Did he say why he wanted you to do that?
So he won't come and testify, so he'll be scared, like intimidated.
Okay. Now, you also mentioned the 60-year-old lady
Yes.
that's coming, supposedly coming. Who did he mention a name or with that, or
He
or
didn't
just
mention the name. He just said it was the other little girl that was there that went and grabbed the mints at her house, and I think she's coming to testify against him, or she already did.
okay?
This was Kathy Sigmund, the witness who saw Maria with the young man. She wasn't given a photograph to identify until 2008.
Okay. Did he mention anything about his family?
He said the only person that testified, like, were his mom, who passed away, and his sister, who he referred to as a dumb bitch, because he said, I guess she testified against him once already.
Okay.
So that's why he doesn't like her.
Okay. Okay. And now, along with this letter, Detective Hoffman has these notes that he will go over as well that you brought to our attention here.
When we first started speaking with you today, you made mention of having some notes in your cell, and you have retrieved those notes for us. I'm going to have you look at this. That is a copy. Can you tell us what that is?
That's a copy of my notes that I wrote on September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd about what Jack described of his case to Matt Raymond.
Okay, and what's on the second page?
On the second page, that's the last note on September 4th about what Jack said when he returned from talking to his attorneys.
Okay. If I could have you read the first page, please.
You want me to read all of it?
Yes, please.
Okay. On the dates of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of September, I wrote these notes. I heard Jack say he ran with the victim down the alley while carrying her on his back after the other little girl went inside to get her meds. Jack had the victim inside his house and his mom knew about it. I also heard Jack say he strangled the victim with a wire and that he hit her in the head, but the skull wasn't dead. Jack told Matt he never sold a car with fire stripes on it. He just tells people that. Jack talks to Matt a lot about legal stuff and about prison because he's scared, so he wants Matt to protect him in prison. Also, I heard Jack say he's so angry at the state's attorney, Mr. Clay Campbell, that he would like to kill him.
Okay, and the second page, if you could read that, and that's dated September 4th?
Yeah, September 4th. Jack returned from talking with his attorneys and said the state's attorney offered him a deal, and he said fuck that. Jack then went into cell 1 and started talking to Matt. Jack told Matt that the state's attorney has no evidence other than his mother who is dead and his sister who he called a dumb bitch and some little girl who he gave a piggyback ride to at his dad's father's house. As well, Jack said some snitch, Kirk Swaggerty, who is in prison. Jack asked me and Matt, can we do something to this snitch? We said no.
Okay. Now these notes, did you write these notes when you were in your cell?
Yes.
And were you writing these notes when you were listening to the conversation?
Some of them I wrote when I was listening to the conversation. I was acting like I was drawing.
Okay. What about the other notes then?
The other ones I wrote after he finished talking to Matt Raymond and Jack left to his cell and Matt went out to the day room. That's when I started writing the notes.
Okay, so all of these notes that you've written pertain to conversations you have overheard, not conversations you've had directly with Jack.
Yes, conversations that I overheard.
Okay. Do you have anything further?
I don't think so. Well, I just want to make it clear that no prosecuting attorney, law enforcement officer has been in contact with you and promised you anything by coming forward with your letter and these notes.
No.
That's correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So today is the first time that you've spoken with law enforcement after you sent this letter on your own?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we're going to end our interview. It's currently 3:22 p.m., Thursday, September 6th.
While Diaz's story might be possible, it isn't enough to move the case forward. Based on this, he is likely to be offered a deal.
We will be right
Okay,
back.
we'll be back.
All right.
Jack McCullough was tried and convicted of the murder of Maria Ridulph. However, after an appeal and a petition for post-conviction relief, a review of the evidence determined that he could not have committed the murder. McCullough was declared actually innocent of the crime by the DeKalb County Circuit Court.